Yeah, screen is being recorded. Okay, all good. So now let us move on to these things, compute engines. For this, I need to delete few things, images. There is nothing in images. VM instances. VM instances. Yep. Yeah, these two are not required. I am deleting them, and I will show you from the beginning how we are going to do this. Okay. So in the previous class we had discussed about how to install HTTPD on Linux machines. In today's class we are going to see how to install Apache on Linux machine using Ubuntu. Earlier we have used CentOS. So I hope you are aware of those things, but however, consider this as a refresher class. We are going to deal with everything. So the steps for load balancing will be like this. And let me go to VPC networks. VPC network. So there are two VPC networks. This also I will delete and I will create everything fresh. Copy. Delete. And then VPC networks, Linux VPC, delete VPC, copy, paste. So meanwhile, let me open Paint. You can see this here. We want to create a load balancer. To create a load balancer, I am taking two regions. I'm taking two regions. Let this first region be, let this be first region be US Central, US Central, US Central, and the second region be, let us go to compute engines. In this compute engines, if you see, click on create instance. If you see the regions, one region I am going for US Central one. The other region, let it be Europe Central. Let it be Europe Central. Okay. So now, let this be US Central and this be Europe Central. Europe Central. Let's assume these are two regions we are considering. And now we want to deploy a website which is active for longer times. Assume we had already created instance templates, we had already created instance groups also. So the purpose of instance groups is if one of the mission fails, the other mission will automatically start. That is the idea of a VM group. So now let us say in US Central we have created Windows group missions. Windows group missions. Let us say in this we are going to create Windows group mission, and assume we are going to create 3 missions here. We are going to create 3 missions here. We are going to create 3 missions, 3 Windows missions. Let us assume we are going to create 3 Windows missions here. Similarly, in the other region, we are going to create a Linux group. Here we are going to create a Linux group. Okay. So in this Linux group also we are going to create some 3 missions. Here also we are going to create 3 missions. Okay. Now the same website is hosted in all these missions. The reason why we are hosting many missions is for the reliability of the website. And how to get the load? So for getting this load, what we are going to do here is we are going to create a load balancer. We are going to create a load balancer. This load balancer, what it will do? This load balancer, let us assume this is the load balancer. What this load balancer will do? This load balancer will evenly distribute the traffic. This load balancer will evenly distribute the traffic across the regions, and the clients on the internet, and this is internet, and the clients on the internet will get, so different sources will hit this load balancer. Different sources will hit the load balancer because this is internet. We don't know from where we are going to get the request. We are going to get the request from various sources. So that is why what we are going to do from the internet, the external traffic will hit the internet from various sources. This is external traffic. That means which is coming from the global thing. So this is external traffic. Once the external traffic is coming from various sources to the internet and it will hit the load balancer, the load balancer will distribute the traffic across the regions and the machines equally, and it will balance the load to avoid crashing of the machines. So this is the idea of the load balancer. This is the idea of the load balancer. Okay. So now I request all of you to take a screenshot of this load balancer. However, I am also taking a screenshot and I will put it in the shared this one. I will put it this in the, let me save this as, I had already shared you, but again let this be DevOps class. In this I will call it as LB class 2. I had already explained you about this concept, and again I am doing this in the class 2. For your refreshing thing I am doing this. Okay, all good. So let me close this. This is no more required. Now what are the steps involved in creating a load balancer? Steps involved in creating a load balancer. So steps involved in creating LB stands for load balancer. First one, create a VPC for Windows group. We want to create a VPC for Windows group. Step 2, similarly. So step 1, I can call it as VPC creation. Let it be VPC creation. So in VPC creation, one for Windows and one more for Linux. So Windows in region 1. In region 1, it can be any region, R1 for in our case it is US Central 1. For Linux, let it be region 2. In our case it is going to be Europe Central. Okay. After creating the VPC, create VMs. So one VM with Windows IIS server and second with Linux, Apache 2 server. So far we have used HTTPD, now we are going to use Apache 2 server. Okay, Linux, Apache 2 server. After creating this, create image. So for creating of the image, shut down. After creating VMs, what we need to do? Add the required website or host the required website in both servers. We have to host the required website in both the servers. After that, fourth step is create images for both the servers. We have to create images for both the servers. Step 5. What is step 5? After creating servers, you have to create instance group. In instance groups for both. That is Linux and Windows. While creating instance groups, what are required? Instance template, health check. These are the things that what we need to create parallelly while creating the instance group. Health check, and then adding them to the required VPC. Adding them to VPC and choosing image, proper image. Choosing the correct right image. One for Windows, the other for Linux. Right image. So these are the steps that we need to remember while creating the instance groups, one for Linux and one for Windows. After creating the images and the groups are ready, then step 6, creating the load balancer. Okay. So these are the steps involved in creating a load balancer. So now let us go into these steps one by one. Minimize this. Now the first step. What is first step? VPC creation. So we need to create two VPCs. One VPC we need to create in US Central, the other one in Europe Central. Because we want to distribute across the regions such that our network, our website, our application will be active and faster for that particular regions. Okay, that is why we are going to create the load balancing in all these regions. Okay, so for that let us go to VPC networks. VPC networks. So create a VPC network. So let us say we want to create Windows VPC. Windows VPC. So we are not going to change anything. We are going with for custom, and then we want to create a subnet. So let it be Win subnet. Win subnet. Win VPC, Win subnet. In which region we want to create a Win VPC? Let it be Win VPC. I will be using Win for Windows, Lin for Linux. In which region we want to create a Windows VPC? Windows I want to create in US Central. So Windows I want to create in the region US Central. Go to US Central one. Okay, and the range, let it be 10 dot series, and the other series we will be going for the Linux. Okay, so done. We have added the subnet, and the name of that subnet is Win subnet. And in which region we have created this? We have created this in US Central. Okay, done. So the Windows network is ready. For those 4 machines what we are creating, they will be connected to this network. Okay, so we are not going to add it. We will be creating our own firewalls. Just click on create. Click on create. So Windows VPC is being created. Now similarly create Linux VPC. Similarly create Linux VPC. Let it be Lin VPC. Let it be Lin VPC. So this we want to create in which region? We want to create it as Lin subnet. Let us create Lin subnet. In which region? This is Europe Central. So Europe Central. We want to create it in Europe Central. And the range of the IP address is 192.160.0.024. So that is the range of the IP addresses we are going to give. So done. And then we are not changing any of these things. Let us say create. So Lin VPC is about to create. So now let us see Windows VPC is created. So go to Windows VPC. There are no firewalls. There are no firewalls in this particular region. So that is why what we want to do, we want to add firewalls for in this VPC region. So you know how to create firewalls also. So go to firewalls, add firewall rule. Add firewall rule. So what firewall rule we want to add here? First one is Windows ingress. There will be traffic will come inside and go outside. Inside we call it as ingress. Outside we are going to call it as egress. So Windows VPC we want to create for in this Windows VPC. We want to create ingress direction, allow specify target, allow all instances. For allowing all instances, the IP address will be 0.0.0.0/0. So that is the common thing, and we are going to allow all protocols create. So Windows ingress will be created. Similarly, we want to add one more firewall. So let that be Windows egress. So Windows egress. So Win VPC, and the direction is egress. Allow all the traffic. Let this be 0.0.0/0, and then allow all protocols create. So now you are going to see Windows VPC is created. Windows VPC is created. So Windows VPC is created in Windows subnet, and it is having two firewalls. One is here, you can see firewalls, ingress and egress firewalls are created. Okay, this is clear. So one VPC is ready. So now we'll go to Linux VPC. Linux VPC, we want to add firewall. So let that be Linux lin ingress. In this ingress, specified target all IP address range 0.0.0/0, and then allow all protocols create. So similarly, add one more protocol, one more for egress. Let it be lin egress egress allow all. Let this be 0.0.0/0, allow all protocols create. Okay, so now you can see there are two Linux this one firewalls are also added. Now let us go to VPC networks. So there will be, here you can see there are two subnets. One is Linux subnet, the another one is Linux Windows network. For both these there are two firewall rules added, and both of them are having one subnet each. So the step 1 is completed. So step 1 is completed. Okay, in which region we have created Europe Central subnet? Yep, this is in Europe Central. Linux is in Europe Central. Yes, Europe Central. Linux is in Europe Central, and similarly Windows is in US Central. US is in US Central. Windows is in US Central. Okay, now what is step 2? We want to create two VMs. One is Linux VM, the other one is Windows VM. Okay, fine. Let us create one by one. Click on this, go to Compute Engines, VM instances. Click on VM instances. So GCP is recently updated. So when you click on this create instance, there will be no change, but we will be getting the options here. Earlier we used to get options in the same form, but now we are getting the options here. Okay. So now what we are going to do? In US Central, in region US Central, what we want to create? In US Central region, we want to create Windows machine. So let us create a Windows machine here. Windows, or let's simply call it as Windows Server. Win Server. And it should be in small letters, no capital letters. Windows Server. Any region we have no specification. So machine configuration we are not going to change. We are not going to change any machine configuration, and image we want to change because this is a Windows machine. We want Windows Server here. Select, change it to Windows machine. Networking, we want to allow all the HTTP traffic, and then interface card, what we need here is we want to change this to from default to Windows VPC. So Win subnet is selected for this automatically. So we are not going to change anything, just say done. And observability, we are not going to do this. Security, we are not doing anything in security. Advanced also, we are not going to change anything. So you need to remember that we are going to create, we are going to change only these two things and a name here. Remaining all, we are not changing anything. So let us say create. So a Win server is being created. Now let us similarly create Linux server. So let this be Lin server. Lin server in which region? Europe Central. Europe Central. Go to Europe Central, and then E2 medium machine. OS we want to change this to Ubuntu. OS we want to change this to Ubuntu. Okay. Let this be Ubuntu, and then select, and then networking, all these. So then what we are going to do, this we want to change it to, from default we want to change it to Linux VPC. So and then Linux subnet is automatically selected. We are not going to change anything, just say done. And then observability, we are not doing anything. These things we are not doing anything. So similarly, make the region, network, Ubuntu. These are the things that what we are changing. Let us say create. Okay, so Win server is ready. So once the Win server is ready, what we want to do, we want to set password for this Win server. So set password, see adi moolam, set password. So setting it will give a system generated password. Copy this and paste it here. Control V. And you know how to log into this machine. So what we want to do, we want to copy the external IP of this machine. Where you will find the external IP of this machine. Get back. So let us copy the external IP of this machine. Copy the external IP and go to remote desktop connection and then paste this, connect. It will ask for username and password. Type username and password. And password, you have just copied that one. You go here and then copy this password. Control C and then paste it here. Click OK. So Linux server is also ready. First complete this Windows server, then we will come to Linux server. It is a big class. Kindly, it will take more time. Please be patient. Okay, let this be doing, and then by the time I will SSH into Linux machine also. We will do things parallelly to save time. Authorize. So just to say clear and then sudo su for root permission. So we will be now in the root permission. So the first step is apt update. Apt update. First command for this one is apt update. So it will update the Linux machine. Let this to be updated. Meanwhile, we can check this Windows machine. So in Windows machine, the first step what we need to do is go to local server and turn off this enhanced internet security. The first step is we want to turn off this internet security. Off. Click OK. What is the next step? We want to configure. So this should become off. So click on dashboard and then come to local server. You will be seeing this should be off. Yeah, this is off now. This is off now. So click on dashboard again. So add roles and features. Add roles and features. Server selection. So just click on next. Installation role based. So next server selection. Which server we want to install. It will ask you for server roles. So in server roles, we are going to select this IIS server, add features. Click next. We are not going to change anything. We are going with a default IIS server. Next. Say install. So by the time it install, minimize this, check the Linux machine. So update is done. What is the next step? We want to install Apache here. So apt install Apache 2. This is the command for Linux. See, I am working on both the machines parallelly. So when it will ask for continue, we have to say yes. Why? So it will install automatically. So Apache is being installed. It will take less time. We need not to worry. But this will take some more time. Let it be installed in Windows machine. So Linux machine is ready. So Linux machine is ready, updated, and then uh, Apache is installed. How to check Apache is installed or not? Copy the Linux server external IP address, go to here and then click a new tab and paste it here and you will see the Apache. So Apache default page is available. Apache default page is available. So what is the next step you need to do is you need to add your own website. So we need to add our own website. So for that what we need to do, for understanding I am just clearing this. So cd slash where, similarly what we did for the HTTP. So www html, here if you see there will be index.html. So this we don't want. We want to add our own index.html. Just to rename this existing index.html to some other name, let it be index1.html. You can save, you can give your own name. Need not to worry. Otherwise you can delete that one also. It makes no difference. So now nano index.html. Nano index.html. Okay, we are going to create our own machine here. So we our own website. So for that what we need to do is we need to copy the website that is available. So GCP student, so class related stuff, installing Vision static website code. So this we have already. So just I am copying the static website code. So just paste it here, and then say Control X, Y for saving, press enter, it will come out. So index.html is modified. Now just go to the this one and the Linux server, copy this Linux server, this thing. So then what we need to do is just go here, again paste it, you will see your own website. So this is the old website. This is the what we are using since long time. So the same website I am hosted it here also. Okay, now the website is ready. Now the Linux server is ready. Leave about that one for some time. So now get back here. Let us see. Let us complete this the Windows Server configuration. Let us complete this Windows Server configuration. Let that to be completed in some time. Okay. This SSH is no more required. That is why I'm closing this. Check this remote desktop connection, and it is taking time. Let it take time. Yeah, it is done. It is done. So installation succeeded on WinServer. Just say close, and this server manager is also not required. You can say close. Go to Microsoft Edge. Otherwise, you can also install a Chrome. That is your wish. I will be just going with this Chrome browser, and it will be asking for a sign in. We are not going to sign into this. Start without signing, without your data. So confirm and continue. Continue without this data. Confirm and start browsing. So here you type localhost. Oh, what happened to this? Here you type localhost. Just to say localhost. So it is taking something else. Leave it. say localhost, press enter. It is always going to Bing server. Localhost. Yeah, you can see Windows server is ready. So as usually, we want to add our own website here. So for adding our own website, what we used to do the practice is just go to C drive. Just go to C drive. In C drive, we will be having inet pub. In this, we will be having www.root. In this, we want to delete this. Shift delete. Yes. Continue. Delete both of them. So localhost is no more available. Continue. So now what we are going to do here is open Notepad. Open Notepad. So now what we want to do here is open the static website, copy this, Control C. Come here and then paste it here, Control S. On desktop, just say it as all files and save it as index.html. Index.html. So this is all good. So let us check whether index.html is working locally or not. Yes, index.html is working locally. Put it in the server. In www.root, you just move this here. Say continue. So it will be copied here. Once this is copied, close this, minimize this. This is not required. So now go to your VM machines, copy this external IP, come here and check whether it is available on the internet or not. Yep, both these websites are available on the internet. Okay, so I am pasting this in the chat. You can also try. I am pasting this on the chat from the Linux machine as well as from the Windows machine. You can check it. The machines are available. Linux machine as well as the Windows machine. Control V. Yeah. So you can click on them and you can check whether the website is available or not. Okay. So now what is the next step? So let us go to the steps list. So we don't want any more this remote desktop connection. I am closing this remote desktop connection. So what is the next step? So VPC creation completed, creating VMs completed, and Windows IIS server, Linux Apache server, both up to this we have completed now. So what is the next step? Host the required website in both. This is also completed. Step 3 is also completed. What is fourth step? Create images for both the servers. How to create images? In order to create images, what we need to do? For creating images, we need to shut down both the machines. So say stop. I am stopping the machines. Say stop. And similarly, stop. Both the machines we are stopping. Let us say we are going to stop both the machines and just keep refreshing. Both the machines will be stopped. Once both the machines are stopped, we can create images for that machine. Images, once we create images, then we will go for creating the next steps. Just keep refreshing. Both the machines has to be stopped. Yes, Windows machine is stopped. Let us go to images. So in the same compute engine, this part you will be having images. Click on images. Open this in new tab. So now we want to create images. Both of them should be stopped. VM instances both should be stopped. Yes, both of them are stopped. Now create images. So first create Linux image, then create Windows image as you wish. So here we are going to create the images. Click on create image. So here we are going to create image. Let this be Win image, that is Windows image. So source disk. So source disk is Windows image. So let that be regional. We want to keep it in the same region. Okay. So we are not going to add anything here. Just create an image from Windows Server. Create. And similarly create Linux image. So create Linux image. Let this be Lin image. Let this be, and the source be Linux server. Let this be regional in Europe Central. Yep. So both the images are being created. Let it take some time for creation. So once this is created, what is step 2? What is the next step? So we have to create instance groups for both. So we have to create instance groups for both. So let us go for creating instance groups. So in the same compute engine section, you will be having instance groups. Right click, open link in this new tab. So instance groups. By that time images should be ready. To create this, images should be ready. Yeah, Linux image is ready. Let us create a Linux group first. So create instance group. So Linux image is ready. Let this be Linux server group. Let this be Linux server group or Lin server group or whatever it is, makes no difference. So instance template. So we want an instance template. So we can always create a new instance template. We can always create a new instance template. So let me delete the existing templates to avoid confusion. So let me go somewhere here, instance templates, here it is. Open this in new, and then there are two instance templates. I had not deleted this earlier, they are existing. So let me delete these instance templates for now. Instance templates I need to delete one after the other. So delete, let us type delete. Instance templates we need to deleting instance template. Similarly delete this. So instance templates are being deleted. Similarly, there will be some existing health check also. So that also I want to delete now. So there is an existing health check. This I don't want. I need to show you how to create this health check also. This we did it earlier, but you might have been forgot. So that's why I am doing it again. So instance template. So here you can see, just to refresh this page. Just refresh this page and we will be getting. So this is instance group creation. Images, by that time both of them should be completed. Oh, Windows image is taking time. Let it to take time. So we will be creating a Linux image. So Lin server group. Lin server group we are creating. So let this from the new instance template. Create an instance template. We will get create an instance template. Let the name of this template be Lin template. Linux server or Linux server template. Linux server template, and let this be regional in this region US central one. We are not going to change the image, the machine type, but we want to change the image. So we want to change the image where this image option will be. Standard display confidential container boot disk. So let this what is the custom image? So we want this image. What this is? Linux image. This is Linux image. Just to select the Linux image, and then just add the HTTP required things, and then we want to add the network also. Which network? Linux VPC we need to add. So instead of default, we want to add Linux VPC here. Linux VPC. Select the subnetwork. Oh, Linux should be in which region? Linux should be in Europe region. So go to Europe, Europe Central. So Europe Central. Linux is in Europe Central. That is why you will be getting, you are not getting this. Linux VPC. Linux VPC. Subnetwork is Linux subnet, Europe Central. Okay. Okay, done. So then save and continue. So what are all other things we need to add here? So Linux server template, just reviewing this, same machine, image, Linux image, and the network is Linux VPC. Save and continue. So we have created a Linux server template with E2 medium, Linux image, in this Europe Central region. So single zone or multiple zones. Let this be multiple zones in this particular, and distribution is even distribution. Auto scaling. We want to scale out, add instance groups. How many? Maximum of 3. When this increase to 3, this should increase when the CPU utilization is more than say 10%. More than 10%. Initialization period 60, and then auto healing we are not adding. So, but we need to add health check. Where is this health check? Yeah, this health check. So create a new health check. So let this be my health check, and then let this in this global TCP 80 port number. Remember this TCP 80 port number. So we are not changing anything. So once this is 33, we will be getting it will be replacing an initial delay. 60 seconds we are giving instead of 5 minutes, we are giving 1 minute. So okay, all these are good. So now we are going to create the Linux server group. Just click on Linux server group, click create. So Linux server group is being created, and similarly we want to create, let us go for the images. Windows image is also ready. Let us create Windows group now. Let us go and create Windows group. So let this be again Win server group. Win server group. So instance template, we want to create a new instance template. So let this be Windows server template. Let this be Windows instance template, whatever it is. So in which region? US Central region as usually. But the boot disk we want to change this to custom images. In this we want to change this to Win image. Select, and then allow HTTP, and then network. Change the network to Windows VPC. Network we want to change this to Win VPC. In VPC, and subnetwork Win subnet. Universe Central. Okay, done, and then save and continue, and multiple zones, Universe Central, and then auto scaling, scale out, add instances, maximum of 3 instances, and CPU utilization, let us keep it as 10%. Let us keep it to 10%, and then done, and then the next one is health check. Add the health check is already created, my health check TCP, and then create. Linux server group is already created. Windows server group is being created. Now let us check the Windows machines here. So VM instances. In VM instances there is already a Linux server available. Let us copy this external IP. When you copy this external IP and paste it here, you might be seeing your own website. You will be seeing your website. Yep, Apache is sending the website. Website is ready with us. So like this, it is going to create instance groups. Let both the instance groups be ready. Let both the instance groups be ready. Oh, Windows Server group. There are some issues. It seems. Let us change it. Health instance edit Windows Server group. We have forget to change this something. My health check initial delay, let it be 60. Let us port mapping, health check is all good, and auto scaling. Where is this auto scaling? Number of instances, repair instance, port mapping, advanced configuration standard. Let's save. No worries, it makes less differences. Once this is ready, we can just VM instances, just refresh this. There should be a Windows machine available. Yeah, Windows machine is also available. Need not to worry. Now let us go for this load balancer. So let us type here load balancing. Let us check what is the next step. So instance groups are ready. Then creating the load balancer. So next step is load balancing. So load balancing network services. Click on this. It will take you to the load balancer. Click on create load balancer. Application load balancer. Next. Public facing, because we want to see it on the internet. Best global loads. Select this. Load balancer generation, advanced traffic management. So configure. Here you will be seeing front end. Give a name for the front end. Let it be my front end. My front end. HTTP protocol we are going to use, and port number 80 as we did. So say done. And now go to backend. Create a backend service. It will ask you to create a backend service. Click on create a backend service. Let this be, we will be creating two backend service. Let this be Win backend. Let this be Windows backend instance group. Windows backend instance group. So this Windows backend instance group, what you will be seeing. So you need to add which instance group. So we need to add Win server instance group, server group, utilization, maximum backend utilization. You can let it be. You can change it later. While you are doing, you can change it as the number. So it can be anything for now. Okay. Port numbers should be 80. We gave the port number as 80. Let us say create. Make sure go to issues, health check. Give this my health check. Create. So Windows backend 1 is created. And similarly, we need to create one more backend service. So Linux backend, create backend service. Let this be Linux backend service. Linux lin backend. Let this be lin backend. Then backend, and then instance group. Now you give the Linux server group. Port number, let it be 80 again. So we are not going to change anything here. So health check, my health check, create. So both these are all ready. So click on OK. So two instance groups, one is from US Central, the other one is from this one is ready. So now create the backend. One is Windows backend, the other one is this. Let this be Linux. Let this be Linux. And then path, all paths are allowed. That is why we are giving slash. Okay. So once this is done, review and finalize. So we know Windows backend, Linux backend, both of them are there. Linux backend, what is Linux backend, what is Windows backend. And now let us say create, and let load balancer name, my load balancer. My load balancer. Create. This will take some time. Keep refreshing. It will take some time. Here you can see backend, and you can see what is backend and what is front end. So it is just both are the and then LB policies. If you required all these things, you can check here. But we are not concerned about all those things. So this is not much worried from our side. So ours is just the load balancer. Let us say it to be ready. It will take 2 minutes. You can see the servers are ready. Linux is not created, it will be created in some time. Load balancing. Just keep refreshing. Up to this it is ready. Yeah, successfully load balancer is created. Refresh. Two backend services are running. Two instance groups, two backend services, two instance groups, and load balancer. Click on load balancer, and this load balancer will give you a IP. So this is the load balancer IP. This will become your website IP now. This will become your website IP. As I told you, every Windows group, this is having their own IPs, and load balancer is having its own IP. So now what it will do, the traffic that is coming to this load balancer will be distributed across these machines. And that will be done from this one. So copy this, paste it here, Control V, press enter. Take some time. Page is not working right now. It will take 2 or 3 minutes. Just wait. So these are the steps for the load balancer. Save as. Steps for load balancer. Save. Okay. Just refresh this. So instead of these IP addresses, we are checking with the load balancer IP address. So 176. Just refresh this. Give it some time. because load balancer need to be configured. I can share you here. You can also check the load balancer. It will take little time. That's it. Yep. So we got this website. Okay. So this is the concept of load balancing. Okay. So this is all about GCP. You practice this load balancing. So how to host our websites, you will be learning from this concept. Okay. So that's all for today. And in tomorrow's class, we will go with the another DevOps concept, that is Git. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye. Good night.